As most of you probably know, the International Division has now returned as a separate division here at the department, having been folded into the Business Development Division some years back. Now that means there is a clear recognition by this administration of the contribution that international trade and foreign direct investment, or FDI, make in bolstering the overall economic strength and performance of businesses in our state. I see a couple of folks have come online. If you could go ahead and turn off your video, that gives us the chance to have everyone be able to see full screen for all of the presenters. Thank you. And so while the International Division does not produce any product for export, we do supplement the work of Kansas companies by providing them with key services designed to help them enter new markets or expand their presence in existing ones. Sometimes that comes in the form of business counseling. Sometimes it comes in the form of direct support for company participation in international trade shows, as with our Kisab program. And sometimes it comes in the form of support for market entry or expansion initiatives, as with our KMAP or STEP programs. Importantly, however, it can also take the form of leadership by the governor and her team in the form of trade missions or other high-level meetings with foreign businesses and government leaders so that Kansas companies can better operate and sell into foreign markets. And so before we get into the substance of our program, I want to also reiterate some of the housekeeping matters we began with. First off, this is the first event of this kind that we've undertaken, so I hope that all goes as planned and we're able to smoothly share with you what we have to say. As you're all clearly aware, we have chosen Microsoft Teams as our webinar platform. We're interested in learning how this works for everyone, so don't hesitate to provide me with any comments you have by sending them to me at my email address, jeff.willis@ks.gov. And as this program is designed to be a webinar, I'll reiterate again, and not an interactive session, please make sure that your video remains off and your microphones are also on mute. You may submit questions to us via the chat function at any time during today's presentation, but we will only have time at the very end to answer them today. Of course, you can always reach out to me or anyone else on our team after the event, and we will get back to you quickly. Lastly, this event is being recorded and will be available for replay after we've had a chance to post it on YouTube. All of you will receive specific links to the presentation by email once that has been accomplished. Well, to get started today, we have a special message of welcome recorded for us by Governor Laura Kelly.
Hello, everybody. It's a pleasure to speak to you today and help usher in a series of timely international business webinars from the Department of Commerce International Division. This year has brought unprecedented challenges to all Kansans. We've adjusted our routines and business practices to address disruptions caused by the pandemic. However, even in the face of COVID-19, businesses and economic development in our state have powered forward. By nature, Kansans are innovative and entrepreneurial. We are also indisputably committed to working hard, providing quality service, and having an unwavering sense of community. We've seen our trade shows canceled, international travel severely limited, and now much of our work is conducted virtually. So we have improvised with even more robust strategies that will work well for Kansas companies today and for years to come. It's all part of the momentum that's occurred as my administration has worked to rebuild our economic development engine at the Department of Commerce. When I took office, I tasked Secretary Tolan with reestablishing our international division. Today, this team works closely with federal, state, and local partners to help Kansas businesses expand their international markets and increase sales. The International Division also works to attract international companies to locate in the state. Such businesses contribute significantly to job creation and capital investment that benefit our state and our economy. The division has never been more important, more vital to Kansas's recovery. I hope you enjoy your webinar today, which will focus on virtual trade promotions. Next month, we will address our largest export destination, Mexico, and explain how our Mexico City office can help companies expand sales. Thank you once again for your participation today and in the future.
Well, thank you, Governor Kelly, for that message. We also have a welcome message recorded by Secretary of Commerce David Toland.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Kansas Secretary of Commerce David Toland. I want to take this opportunity to echo Governor Kelly's support for international business in the state and thank her for her leadership in reestablishing the International Division here at the Department of Commerce. Thanks to this effort, our state now has a fully enabled team working each and every day to facilitate foreign direct investment and help our companies sell more goods and services internationally. Today, you'll hear from our new Division Director, Jeff Willis, along with his international team, about changes we've made to expand our program support for virtual trade promotion efforts. The pandemic may have temporarily stopped us from traveling overseas, but it has not stopped us from supporting the many great companies we have throughout the state as they work hard to overcome the present challenges. In fact, beginning today, we're kicking off this series of monthly webinars designed to present some of the best practices we uncovered as we took a long, hard look at the many ways companies around the country are adapting their traditional promotional strategies to fit the new normal. And while we're excited for the day when travel overseas gets back on track, we're convinced that the virtual techniques companies are utilizing today in the face of this pandemic will, without a doubt, continue to be critical in trade promotion and marketing kit bags going forward. So whether you are an experienced exporter, a service provider, or one of the many economic development organizations participating in today's event, I know you will find value in being with us today. Please don't hesitate to reach out to my international team with any questions you may have after the event. Our team is eager to help you in any way we can. Thanks again, and I hope you enjoy today's webinar.
I want to thank both Governor Kelly and Secretary Toland for their words of support. As you've just heard, international business promotion is alive and well in the state of Kansas, and we fully joined all the other organizations and people around the state who share our dedication to helping our companies engage internationally. I want to begin the program by introducing the International Division team. We're now fully in place and include a staff of 6 full-time professionals and 1 intern, Taylor Blem. Taylor is a senior at KU, finishing up her degree in American Studies and Global Studies with a minor in Spanish, and she's been very helpful to us as we've worked to expand the reach of our programs. I've asked each of our professional staff to briefly introduce themselves. Many of you on this webinar will no doubt already be familiar with some of them. In fact, our Deputy Director, Rondi Tuviteris-Jack, has been working for many years on behalf of Kansas companies and has been instrumental in ensuring that our programs have continued to move forward. In addition to her role as deputy within the division, Rondi's primary duties are in the area of foreign direct investment. If you know of an international company that is located in our state over the course of the last several decades or so, chances are Rondi had a significant role in making that happen. So Rondi, please say a few words about yourself and what you do here at Commerce.
Hi, it's nice to be here today. And I know our primary focus is on our export assistance programs today, but I wanted to just give you a couple. I'm going to highlight 3 quick points with regard to our foreign direct investment efforts. As Jeff mentioned, that's my primary responsibility. So I'm just going to talk about what's going on and what the impact of COVID has been in this area. So the first thing is Project Pipeline. Although the COVID situation has certainly affected how we do business internationally, we have had several project announcements in the past few months, representing significant investments from South Korea, from Japan, along with a Canada-based company that just established a new US production facility in Kansas. So we're seeing that our projects are taking longer. Some that we had been working on pre-COVID have gone on hold, but we're continuing to see international interest in Kansas. We've gotten some new leads, so we find that very encouraging. The second thing I wanted to mention is, again, because of the travel restrictions and event cancellations, our marketing plan for the year has looked a lot different than what we anticipated in January. So we've really had to pivot and explore some new opportunities to promote Kansas as an investment location for international companies. We're doing more in terms of electronic outreach. We're making presentations through webinars that are arranged by the Select USA Embassy staff in Italy and Brazil. We recorded a message from Secretary Toland for the Nordic Business Exchange, also an online event. And then we're working to identify specific companies to target based on various data sources that are new to us. So really trying to be creative and find new ways to promote Kansas. And then the third thing is on reshoring, onshoring. So we've seen with COVID a lot of supply chain disruption. We're hearing companies looking, kind of rethinking their supply chain, thinking about manufacturing close to market. So we anticipate that that will lead to some new opportunities. So we're really working to identify companies that may have those types of interests. So for the economic development partners on the call today, we always appreciate the opportunity to work with you. And certainly if you have leads of international companies that are looking to invest in the US, certainly we look forward to the opportunity to work with you. And then for the companies that are participating, if you're considering changes to your supply chain, such as bringing production in-house, or if you have key suppliers that you feel might be considering US manufacturing, we would love to work with you to follow up on those leads. So looking forward to future opportunities to work together, and I'll turn it back over to Jeff. Thank you.
Thank you, Rondi. I'd like to remind everybody on the call to go ahead and make sure that their video is turned off, because that gives us an opportunity to be able to present to everybody in full screen. So go ahead and find that video camera image and click on it, and then that will turn off your video. And the rest of us can continue forward without having such a split screen. The next staff member I want to introduce is Rosie Nichols. Rosie is the newest member of our team and is an international development representative. Besides the help that she provides in supporting our overall export promotion mission, Rosie also plays a significant role in working with Rondi to attract foreign businesses to locate here. Rosie, please say a few words about yourself as well. We'll give Rosie a chance to be able to come on as we all work our way through this new technology. I know Rosie is working remotely, so we'll see how that plays out. Well, it looks like Rosie might not be able to make it online today. I simply have to say that she's been a great addition to our staff, and we look forward to all the work that she's going to be able to do in the future. The next staff member I want to introduce to you is Kathleen Doltmeyer, who is a project marketing manager here in the division. Kathleen is a talented digital media specialist, and we are particularly fortunate to have her on board during this time of greater reliance upon digital marketing now that so much has moved to virtual platforms. She ensures that I fully understand how best to make use of this media as we work to help companies put their best face forward using the various electronic promotion vehicles available to them. Kathleen, please introduce yourself to the group.
Thanks, Jeff. Good morning, everyone. Again, my name is Kathleen Doltmeyer, and I am the International Marketing Coordinator. My job is managing the creation of the marketing materials and providing the materials to individuals interested in learning more about business opportunities in Kansas. And I look forward to keeping everyone up to date on future webinars and the many other great things we have planned for 2021. Jeff, I'll send it back over to you.
Thank you, Kathleen. The next two staff members I'd like to introduce are also both familiar faces to many of you. They will be making more extensive presentations today, so they will have a chance to tell you a little more about themselves when they speak later on in the program. The first of these speakers is April Jiang, who is an international project manager in the division and has been managing many of our key export promotion programs for many years. In addition to her role in managing our Kisab and KMAP programs, April also manages, among other things, our Governor's Exporter of the Year program. The second person to present after April will be Chong Liu. Liu is an international trade project manager within the division and is really my utility player on the team. Besides keeping track of our statistical information and managing our Kansas-Mexico office, Liu has also been our program manager for the STEP, or State Trade Expansion Program, that comes to us from the Small Business Administration. In fact, I'm very happy to announce that we just learned last Friday that we've been given a generous award of over $127,000 in new STEP monies to support our efforts to help companies begin to export and expand the markets into which they already export. Liu will be telling us more about our STEP program later on this morning. And because this program is such an important part of all our program offerings here in the division, April will also now be helping Liu with the STEP program as we ensure its seamless integration with our other trade promotion resources. Lastly, I just want to say a few words about myself so that folks have a clearer idea of why we are taking some of the directions we are taking now that we are a division again. For me, this is a bit of a homecoming of sorts. I actually served for several years in the former Trade Development Division in Commerce back in the early 90s. I did that after returning from several postings overseas, mostly in the Asia Pacific region, where I served as a commercial officer in various US embassies and consulates in China and Southeast Asia. In fact, the job of a US commercial officer shares many similarities with the job I'm now engaged in, helping companies to export and better engage with foreign commercial opportunities. Back then, it was in support of all US companies. Now, of course, it's in support of the many great companies located here in our state. After I left the Department of Commerce in 1995, I went into the private sector where I really learned to not only talk the talk of international trade, but walk the walk. I worked for a Kansas City-based machine tool manufacturer, managing their Asia Pacific international sales network and selling product throughout the region. Before returning to the department to lead our international division this time, I also started and ran a business dedicated to helping US small and medium-sized businesses make better use of the internet in support of their foreign sales objectives. I'm also a past president of the Greater Kansas City International Trade Council and former chair of the US Department of Commerce's Mid-America District Export Council, where I still am a director. One thing I've learned as a result of all this time spent in trade promotion arena here in our region is that we are well positioned with many great partners. Whether working with folks here in the department, including our in-state business development representatives who are located around the state, or our other colleagues here at Commerce who manage the many incentive programs that help small businesses grow and thrive, we are well served. And that also goes for our sister agencies within state government, including the Kansas Department of Agriculture, that is also staffed by knowledgeable professionals who help our agricultural community better market and sell the many agricultural commodities and products produced in abundance here in our state. Casting a wider net, we also work closely with the U.S. Commercial Service, which has offices in both Kansas City and in Wichita, as well as the Kansas City World Trade Center. I'm gonna have to take a small drink of water. I've already mentioned the SBA and the STEP program, but we also work closely with the many small business development centers around the state as they work to help companies get started in exporting and ensure that they are ready for the many challenges international business presents. In fact, on October 16th, the Kansas Small Business Development Centers will be hosting a great program designed to get companies started in international trade entitled The Riddle of the Exporter. I encourage you to reach out to them to learn more about this program, as it is an excellent introduction to what you need to know. Kansas Global Trade Services, located in Wichita, is also a partner with us in this great international trade ecosystem here in the state. They help us market our programs and work with us to ensure that businesses around the state can take advantage of the many benefits that exporting can provide. Now, in the time remaining, I want to take the opportunity to talk a bit about some of the adjustments all of us are making as we work to continue to conduct international business, all the while being severely constrained by the present environment. As we all know, many traditional trade promotion vehicles have moved to virtual platforms. We are all making much greater use of video conferencing and remote communications. Some of the greatest impact has been on trade shows and trade missions. In the remaining time in the presentation, we will talk about some of the changes we have made to our programs to address this new normal. Irrespective of how this pandemic runs its course, I'm confident that many of the sales and trade promotion techniques we're all learning to use today will be with us for the long haul, even as we all look forward to the, I believe, inevitable day when some of the traditional tools will again be available to us. In a recent survey of participants in over 500 different events involving both buyers and sellers, Reed Exhibitions learned that fully 83% of the respondents had used at least one new digital service since the lockdown. In fact, on average, most of these had tried at least 3 new services. Now, they also said that 62% of the respondents would be likely to sign up for a digital trade show, and that nearly 2/3 of their customers would be willing to participate in a digital exhibition. In fact, just yesterday, I was talking with Karen Page of Kansas Global about the new trade promotion environment and ways that we could help companies navigate this new landscape. She and I agreed that we would be working with folks to try to expand upon our understanding of the best practices in this area, and she'll be joining me for a webinar in the near future that will address what we have come up with. And so without further delay, I see that we're about on schedule, maybe a little bit early, because I want to make sure that I leave plenty of time for the 2 substantive presenters later on in the webinar to be able to tell their story. So now let me turn things over to April Jiang, who will discuss what we've been doing to adjust our programs to fit the new environment. So please take it away, April. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. Hi, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us for this very first International Divisions webinar. We are very excited. I saw lots of good old friends and quite a few new names on the list. For people who don't know me yet, my name is April Jiang. I'm the International Project Manager in the division. I'm sorry, do we have a PowerPoint for me? Yes, okay, let me continue. My name is April Jiang, and I am the International Project Manager in the division. I manage several export assistance programs, and globally, Greater China region is my territory. So I help out with various affairs between Kansas and China, Hong Kong, Taiwan. Today, we're focusing on exporting. So I'm going to introduce a few of our export assistance program to you guys. Next slide, please. As International Division at the leading Kansas Economic Development Agency, as a member of International Division, we take every chance to promote exporting. Exporting is very important to your business, not only because 95% of the potential customer is located outside of the US, also because when the company engage in exporting, the company is going to open a new world of innovation and diversity. So this is a reinforcing procedure, actually turn around and to make your business more sustainable. So that's why, that's just a short way of saying exporting is very important, because it also opens up the innovation. However, we also understand exporting is not easy. It takes lots of effort and it's expensive. So we at the International Division would like to fight this battle with you by providing several very practical export assistance programs to you. Today, with that, Chong Liu and I are going to introduce the following programs. That would be Kisab, KMAP, Certificate of Free Sale, Exporter of the Year Award, and STEP, and more. Next slide, please. The first program I'm going to talk about will be Kansas International Trade Show Assistance Program, acronym Kisab. Kisab is a program that would provide financial assistance for Kansas companies to exhibit their product at a trade show. We believe exhibit your product at a trade show is one of the best tools to enter or expand your market. Because trade show occasion, it's a third-party place. It's not at the seller's office nor at the buyer's company. The atmosphere is friendly. Exhibiting your product at a trade show, you'll be able to meet with a lot of potential buyers, and you can take the leads and follow up and cultivate the relationship. Also, by talking to people walking the show or even to the company next to your booth, you actually will be able to obtain knowledge and update of the industry in that foreign market. So it's really a very good way to test water of that local market. However, again, we know attending a foreign trade show is expensive. So that's why we created Kisab, to share your burden. Next slide, please. So how does Kisab work? First of all, it has to be a foreign trade show. So of course, Europe, Asia, South Africa, and South America. But I got this question is, then I'm going to answer. That also include Hawaii, Canada, Mexico, Cuba, Puerto Rico. If there's a trade show in those areas, they are qualified for Kisab. And Kisab will reimburse 50% of the direct trade show expense up to $3,500 per show. And each firm actually has up to 7,000 allowance of Kisab money per year. Next slide, please. So Kisab is a very simple, easy program to use. It only has 3 requirements. The first 2 are mandatory though. So to use Kisab, you have to have a trade show booth, which means if you only go to walk the show or only to attend a conference, but not having a trade show booth on the trade show floor, then you are not qualified for Kisab. The second requirement is after you had a booth, you have to send 1 full-time employee from Kansas to staff the booth. We see lots of situations that the Kansas company will put together a booth with their local distributor, which is great. We encourage that. However, in this situation, the Kansas company will still need to send at least one full-time employee from your Kansas headquarters to staff the booth. The third requirement has a little bit of flexibility. The third requirement is Kisab support the first-time exhibitor to that trade show. However, if you find you need to go back to the same trade show, and then because you need to introduce a new technology, new product, new service, I will encourage you to still send the application to us. We will be happy to review it. Next slide, please. So Kisab has been known as our signature program, and thousands of applications have been approved and hundreds of companies has benefited from it. So we put together a map to show you this is the last 200 Kisab application coming from. And very excited to see, although we see those bigger region, for example, Greater Kansas City area, Greater Wichita area, Manhattan, Salina, since come across sending more Kisab applications, but you can see a lot of business in the rural area also is doing exporting. That just gave us that's just very encouraging to us. And in the future, we would like to actually talk to people in the rural area even more to let them understand the benefit of Kisab. Next slide, please. From time to time, we will get the feedback on Kisab after people use Kisab program. And it's really music to our ears when we hear, if not because of Kisab, we're not able to exhibit our product in that trade show. If not because of Kisab, we were not able to find this distributor. Or it is because Kisab, we now have a new division. It is because Kisab, we now have 2 new employees. We hire 2 new people. So, and also it's really wonderful. People recognize Kisab is quick to respond to emails. So don't hesitate to send me emails. You will see me respond to it very fast. Next slide, please. So strategy for quick reimbursement. Kisab is a grant offered as a reimbursement. So, which means you will need to spend your money, go exhibit product at the trade show, and then come back, ask for reimbursement. So wouldn't it be nice if you can get your reimbursement check from us as quick as possible? So the key point to achieve that is when we review the reimbursement request, we review all the expense items, and each expense item needs 2 documents to support it. One is the invoice, the other one is proof of payment. These 2 are mandatory, and the number on the 2 documents need to match each other. And so if you send us a very clear and organized document, will really speed up the process of reimbursement. If when we receive, there's no question to ask, all the number matched, then we guarantee you will receive your reimbursement check in 2 weeks. Next slide, please. The next program I'm going to introduce is Kansas Market Access Program. It's acronym KMAP. Next slide, please. KMAP is comparatively new. We just launched it earlier this year, 2020. And the reason we create KMAP and launch KMAP is because we understand doing exporting business really take various marketing activity, and lots of effort. Although we already have Kisab and STEP, which are great programs, we found they are still exporting marketing activities that doesn't covered by either Kisab or STEP. So we create KMAP to fill the gap between Kisab and STEP. And KMAP also reimburses 50% of the direct expense up to $5,000 per activity. And each firm has up to $5,000 total allowance of KMAP money per year. Next slide, please. So what are the KMAP eligible activities? So they actually cover a lot. They are compliance management, database subscription for the first year, foreign product certification, industry association membership for the first year, international credit reports, letter of credit processing fee, non-STEP market research, new foreign language company website or brochure, non-STEP trade mission, and the best of all is the sales business trip. So when we visit company and then we've got this feedback from company, they say, yeah, exhibit product at an international trade show is great. We agree, we understand, but based on the nature of our product or the size of our company, we actually not able to attend trade show always, but we definitely go out of country to visit our potential or existing clients very often. With that, we start to think we should also provide a system for that kind of activity. So that we build sales business trip under KMAP. And under this item, well, KMAT actually can help out with international airfare, overseas lodging, transportation of demo products, including extra luggage, if you're using extra luggage to carry that, and the interpreter fee. One thing I want to point out is this sales trip, this KMAT activity actually can be in conjunction with a trade show. If you got for example, you got a Kisab approval to exhibit your product at a trade show in Spain. And then if you extend your trip right before or after the trade show to Germany to visit your potential or existing customers, then you can apply KMAT. KMAT might be able to help you with your this whole European trip on the international airfare and overseas lodging. Next slide, please. At this moment, I would like to bring up this good news. Just as Governor and Secretary Toland mentioned, also Director Jeff Willis, we all agree that right now we are facing an unprecedented area, and then we're dealing with new normal. A lot of activity is done virtually now. So based on the spirit of Kisab and KMAT is trying to support company doing exporting business, we would like to also include virtual event in Kisab and KMAT. At this moment, we don't have a concrete guideline or new application form, particularly for virtual events. Actually, we are not in a hurry to put that into a document. It's because we would still like to learn what are the activity or expense will be involved when you do a virtual event. So we will encourage you whenever you have a virtual event designed or in mind or going to do, give Chong Liu or me a call and discuss with us about that event. And then we will go over with you and to see if they are activity or expense that actually can be qualified to use Kisab or KMAT. This is a education to us too, because we really want to be flexible. The commitment is there. And so we would like to really discuss with you and understand your need and how we can help you. So virtual event is included. Please remember that and give us a call when you have any plan or activity. Next slide, please. The next one is talking about certificate of free sale. Next slide, please. Certificate of free sale was an agreement between 116 countries in Hague Convention, happened in 1961. Certificate of free sale is basically a document that will go out with your other shipping document when you ship your product to your buyers. So basically you already achieve the contract. And the purpose of it is to prove that the merchandise you are exporting is freely, legally sold in the US already. It's not like it's just a proven that we are not selling something that we don't use to that country. Next slide, please. So Kansas Commerce would help you and issue certificate of sale for you, and we charge $20 per certificate. And one thing to point out is Kansas Commerce only handle non-edible products, non-food related product. I'd like to bring up that our sister agency, Kansas Department of Agriculture, they also issue certificate of free sale. The difference between us is Kansas Agriculture, they issue certificate of free sale for food related product. Anything that will be consumed by either human being or animal will need to be applied from Kansas Department of Agriculture. And who can apply for certificate of free sale to both of our agency? That would be, you must be a Kansas registered company, or you are a Kansas manufacturer, registered manufacturer for an out-of-state company. Next slide, please. Okay, this is the last but definitely not the least that I would like to introduce, which is Governor's Exporter of the Year Award. This is a living legend. Year 2020 marked the 32 year of Exporter of the Year Award. And in fact, one of the founding fathers, Harlan Priddle, is with us today. And we are so honored to have you, Harlan. As the name suggested, this award is given by the governor to recognize the award-winning company's effort and to say thanks to the employer and the employee of the company for their effort bringing Kansas to the world map. And also, we wish we can showcase the success of the award-winning company, and they can become the role model of the other Kansas company to share the experience to achieve the success. So the photo on the slide right now is taken at the 2019 award banquet, when 2019's award-winning company Pinnacle Technology was receiving the award trophy from Secretary Toland. Next slide, please. We would say this award is probably this award is probably the most prestigious award in the nation. And it is because the award selection process takes about 6 months. In that 6 months of time, it includes activity like accepting nominations, reviewing nominations through a very detailed questionnaire, and then pick out the finalists. Usually it's about 4 to 5 finalists. And then after the finalist is picked, the committee will go for an on-site visit, have a 2 hours interview with the company, and then the finalist company will come back to Topeka to have a 45 minutes PowerPoint presentation to the committee. And only after all of that's done, the award-winning company is created. So this is a map of the last 31 award-winning companies. Again, very exciting that these companies are from all over the state. We're very happy to see that, though still bigger city seems can produce a little bigger, a little more award-winning, and I think that's just a quantitative situation. However, keep in mind, these companies all go through that 6 months process and competing with other 15 to 20 companies to become the winner. And this, I'm glad to see this map myself, also because we really recognize small and big company. So if you are interested, please contact us. And our 2021 campaign will start in November. Next slide, please. So I'm about to close my presentation. Before I turn it back to Jeff, I'd like to say thank you again and for joining the webinar. You guys are very important to us. And one thing I'd like to mention again is exporting is important, but we are here with you. We always say Kansas Commerce is the leading economic development agency, but here I would like to say we are the leading follower to you. We like to stick with you, we like to follow you, we like to understand what is your need and what kind of assistance we can provide to you. So please don't hesitate at all to call me or Lou anytime for any questions. And we'll be happy to help you, or we will find an expert to help you. So thank you, Jeff, and thank you, everyone.
Well, thank you, April. Very good presentation. And I simply want to say a couple of quick things before I turn it over to Lou. And that is, as you can tell, a significant amount of the program design is rooted in historical trade promotion patterns. Now, we've made every effort to try to include a combination of the new virtual formats. And in fact, are in the midst of examining that in a way that we think is going to be quite fruitful for everybody. So we look forward to any feedback people have. And we also want to make sure that we do our best to meet the objectives within this environment. And those things could include stand packages for a virtual booth, which include remarketing impressions, speed networking activities, other kinds of functions like social media posts, e-newsletter sponsorships, et cetera, that all come up with that are driven from what we've seen from what, again, Reed exhibitions have come up with. These are not necessarily inexpensive, even though they're confined to a virtual environment. So we recognize that fact. And a couple of the tips that people have put forward, that Reed has put forward about this, is that 94% of buyers plan before an event who they're going to see, irrespective of whether it's a physical event or even a virtual event. So it's important to make sure that you leave the best impression before the show as well as after. Make sure that you have good marketing materials because you're going to be working in a digital environment, and that enhances the views that you can get and the ultimate number of leads according to their feedback that you can get. Well, there's a lot more to say in this area. Again, I'll be working with Karen Page as we look at some of the best practices, and I welcome working with anybody else on the call, including any of the other trade promotion agencies and outfits that are represented here, because this is clearly an area that we have to make a transition to. And so we look forward to feedback you have, as well as, again, we hope that you'll be able to participate in our future event. So I've already eaten a pretty good amount of time into Mr. Liu's presentation, but I'll do my best here to give him as much time as possible. Again, we'll give him the full time that he's required to be able to talk about his area, but we also will look at chat questions and answer as many as we can right at the end of the program. So without any further ado, I want to be able to turn it over to Mr. Liu. Thank you, Liu.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you so much for putting this webinar together. It is definitely a pleasure to be here today and see everyone. My name is Chong Liu. For those who don't know me yet, Liu is my last name. I go by my last name, spelled L-U, just 2 letters. I joined the commerce team in 2013, and I focus on a couple of things in my current role. Now that include business recruitment, both domestic and international, and export assistance, which is our focus today. Before I start, I would like to congratulate everybody on 2 things. Number 1, your state has a fantastic international team that is ready to help at any given moment. Rondi, Jeff, and April, they're all walking encyclopedia. Anything to do with FDI, with exports, they have the answer. Rosie, Kat, Taylor, and I, we're still learning, but we aim to please. We're here to help. Now, second, we have many financial assistance programs available to help you engage in exporting if you haven't, or expand into additional markets. Now, those programs are especially helpful during this difficult time. I'm going to cover 3 programs today: the STAT program, the Kansas-Mexico office, and our International Credit Report program. For each of those programs, I will provide general information, and also I will highlight the changes we made before and after the COVID-19 breakout. Next slide, please. All right, wonderful, thank you. So first up is our State Trade Expansion Program. The acronym is STEP, S-T-E-P. It is the SBA and state-funded competitive export initiative. So every year, all 50 states plus territories will have to compete. And we're lucky enough to be selected multiple times in the past. And we just learned on Monday that we were selected again for the current grant cycle. So I would like to thank the SBA for the money. I know we have a couple of SBA representatives online with us today, and they really deserve a round of applause and recognition. Without their financial support, many of our small businesses will not be able to afford conducting export activities. Now, I would also like to thank our resource partners, including the U.S. Commercial Service, the Kansas Department of Agriculture, and the Kansas Small Business Development Center, and many, many others. Without you, we would not be able to be here today. Since the inception of the STEP program, next step, please. Since the inception of the STEP program, we have 160 companies, small business, participate in the program, and together they achieved $33 million in export sales. The picture you see here is our booth at the 2019 Paris Air Show. The purpose of the STEP program really is twofold. Number one is to get non-exporters to start. Number two is to get existing exporters to expand into additional markets. How do we get there? What do we do? So we decided to focus on 3 groups of activities. I'll provide more information on the next page. Next slide, please. Now here it is. This is our roadmap of the STEP program. Please pay attention. This chart here, it contains both Step 7 and Step 9 activities. So some of them will be covered now, and some of them will not be covered in the future, vice versa. So if there's anything you're interested in, please reach out to us. Now, due to time constraint, I will only highlight a few programs here. If you have additional questions or need more information, just reach out to us. So let's start with training on the left. The first one I want to draw your attention to is the Kansas Small Business Development Center, KSBDC, their Riddle of Exporter program. I believe Jiang is online. He is the instructor for this course. It's a fantastic course. It's a day-long overview of the entire export process. He will start from how to identify market, how do you find business partners, all the way to how do I ship my product, how do I get paid, and how do I deal with cross-cultural communication issues. So it's a great, great overview. It works well for new companies, for them to gain first-hand knowledge. Also works well for existing exporters. It will be a great refresher course. As Jeff mentioned earlier, the next session is scheduled on October 16th. It's fully online. The cost is $199, and with the STEP program, we can cover 100% of that cost. The second one I want you to pay attention is the U.S. Commercial Service. That's USCS. That's their Discover Global Markets event. I believe AJ Anderson from the Wichita office and Josh Kaplan from the Kansas City office are online with us today. So make sure you follow up with them. Now, the Discover Global Markets give you a fantastic opportunity to meet with foreign diplomats. To meet with commercial diplomats from all the key markets and foreign buyers and government officials. It is a great opportunity to get in front of your potential customer and to gain firsthand knowledge. The next upcoming event is actually next week. It's scheduled for October 7th to 9th. The topic is growth opportunities in intelligent manufacturing. The cost is $175. Again, with that program, we can help you to pay 100% of that. Now let's move into the group in the middle, trade shows and missions. Trade shows and missions is still the most direct way to get you in front of your customers. We have several activities planned here. Of course, the pandemic will dictate how everything goes, but we are prepared to be flexible and make changes when it's necessary. One thing I like to point out is April mentioned in her presentation under the Kisab program, the Kansas International Trade Show Assistance Program, you have to have a booth. Now, under the STEP program, a booth is not required if you're going in person. Anyway, I just want to point that out. Now, let's move on to the third group on the right. That's the market entrance support category. I think that category contains lots of interesting programs, and I hope more companies will sign up and use it. So let's start with the top, the U.S. Commercial Service programs. Commercial service anything they charge, we can pay for it using STEP. Typically, those programs will include initial market check, international partner search, gold keys, and a new program they added recently is called RAISE, RAISE, that stands for Rural America's Intelligence Service for Exporters. So that program is specifically designed for rural-based companies. If that's where you are located, I would not pass up on this opportunity. And then let's take a look at the rest. The rest is pretty self-explanatory. I want to bring your attention to the last one, translation and localization. Now, localization go beyond translation. It's more than just language. It will help you either your website, your brochure, whatever marketing material you have to adapt into the foreign market better. And we have money for all of those. So please sign up and use it. The eligibility requirements are listed below. Very generic. You have to be a Kansas company. If you're not here, sorry, I can't help you. You have to comply to SBA's small medium-sized company standard. You can find the information using your NAICS code on the website, or reach out to me. I'll get you connected with our SBA representatives. And there are a couple of other small requirements. Make sure you read it through. But again, this is a great program. I would really encourage you to use it. Next slide, please. Now let's talk about the changes we made. Any activities that were listed on the last page you just saw, if it's done virtually, it will be covered. So a trade show in the past, you have to fly over, attend it. Now it's a virtual trade show, we can pay for it. And we also added some new activities and increased the funding cap. For example, the U.S. commercial service programs, before COVID, each company can receive up to $2,000. Now, since COVID broke out, we're trying to be flexible and help you in any way we can. We can cover the actual cost as long as reasonable. For example, the DGM event, if you want to send one person, a couple, that's fine. As long as it's reasonable. If you decide to, hey, I'm going to send 100 people there, that might be an issue. Another one is the, for example, translation localization. Before COVID, we can pay up to $1,500. Now we up that to $6,000. Two new programs we added. One is shipping sample product back and forth, and the other one is compliance testing. I know under the KMAT program April mentioned, some of those looks redundant, but we all focus on different aspects of each of these activities. So if you have questions, please reach out to us. Now that concludes my STEP program. If you forget everything, don't worry. Just remember, financial assistance may be available, and just give us a call. Now we're going to go to Mexico. Next slide, please. The state, we have an office in Mexico. The goal is to help Kansas companies exporting to Mexico. It is a major trade partner for Kansas, traditionally ranking as one of our top 3 trading export destinations. In 2019, we exported $2.1 billion to Mexico. Now that is about 20% of our total exports. Our team there is based in Mexico City, like the governor mentioned, and they can help you with lots of different things. All the services is free to eligible Kansas businesses because your tax dollar paid for it. Now let's look on the left. You can see all the services they can provide. Market research, very self-explanatory. Business partner search, that means importers, resellers, distributors, and sometimes end buyers. You can read this list at your spare time, but one thing I want you to remember is we can tailor our service to meet your needs. We are very flexible. Changes we have made. If we do in the past, if we conduct a business partner search for you, then you may have to go down to Mexico to meet with them face to face. Now everything is done virtually. We have converted all the in-person activities to virtual activities, and that's the most significant change on this one. As Governor Kelly mentioned, we're hosting a Mexico-specific webinar next month, so please stay tuned and be sure to sign up. Next slide, please. Last but not least is our International Credit Report Program. If you haven't used it in the past, I think now is a great time to consider it. Just look at those questions there. How many of you can answer them without any hesitation? In light of COVID, I think is very, very important. What does it do? It focuses on credit worthiness of your potential foreign business partners or your suppliers, or anyone you're doing business with. It gives you a snapshot of their financial situation, legal status, and their structural status. And our contractors, we don't conduct this ourselves. We use a contractor, and our contractor will actually go out to visit the company in person to make sure it is a legitimate business and they do exist. And then at the end, we will give you a recommendation. It will say, for example, we recommend a line of credit up to 5,000, 20,000, 50,000, or it will say we recommend cash in advance. Now, there is a small fee associated with the service, depending on how fast you need the report back and where the partner is located. It could cost anywhere between $165 to $305. Now, based on my experience, this is the cheapest service available anywhere. So make sure to use it. The changes we have made, this is 100% online now, including making payments. Now that seems to be a small step, but to set up the online payment portal has been a challenge. Now that concludes my portion of the presentation. We talked about STEP, Kansas-Mexico office, and the International Credit Report Program. Before I turn my time back to Jeff, I want to share this with you. In 2019, our state exported $11.6 billion worth of goods. Now that's equivalent of $360 per second. Now, if that number is too aggressive to you, how about additional 200,000 in export sales sound to you? Now that's what our STEP users achieved. If that all sounds good to you, be sure to reach out to us and find out how we can help you. We're only one call away. Now, thank you so much for your time. Back to Jeff now.
Well, thank you very much, Lou. What a fantastic series of presentations by both April and Lou. And I just have to say, you can tell that Lou is an extremely humble man. He understands and knows a lot as well about international trade. So we're very fortunate to have all the members of this team. I'm also very happy to be able to have this opportunity to present. All of us are happy to have this opportunity to present before folks. And thank you for bearing with us. We've exceeded our 11 o'clock shutdown time that we originally had scheduled. And it looks like we have a couple of hands up for questions. What we'll do is see if we can answer one or two of those before we conclude this event. But certainly, any of you participating today and at any time in the future, feel free to reach out to any of the team members with any questions you may have, either about this event, about future events, or about other kinds of issues you may run into in the promotion of your trade. So let me see if I can execute the questions. Would people please present their question by, let me see if I can do this. We had originally planned on being able to run it over chat exclusively, but perhaps I see some hands up. If you can pose your question in the chat window, that would give me the opportunity to be able to address it and or direct it to the appropriate individual. We're still learning ourselves how to be able to manage this in the most efficient way. I'm not sure how to call upon. Let me see. I see John Adesi's hand is up, and I haven't seen anything in the chat session.
No, that was just an error on my part, Jeff. You can move on to another question. Thank you.
Okay, absolutely no problem. If anybody has any questions, please put them in the chat session for us, and that would probably be the easiest way for me to see it and to be able to address it. We'll stay online here just a little bit longer. And again, if there aren't any specific questions right now, we can certainly move to address those later on as they come in. again, thank you very much for being part of this inaugural session. We're going to master the technology a little bit better next time, I promise. And we're also going to be able to speak a little bit more in detail about some of the adjustments we're making to ensure that Kansas companies have their best opportunities to be able to continue to participate internationally. And so without further delay, because I can't see any specific questions there, and again, it may be my failure, I would welcome anybody to send us questions later on. And again, we will follow up with further webinars. So please stay tuned. Thank you very much.